everybody! Before we start this video, I just want to thank my patrons over on Patreon: Silver-Eyed Warrior, Ash Carlton, Headmaster Frankie, Huntsman Sunny, Huntsman in Training, Swift, and Emmy Cat, and Justin, and new recruits Solly, Jess, Wade, Totally, Rooter, Rage Factor 13, Flashy, Peter, Panic, Mindpiece, and $100 patron Alex Wise. Alright everybody, we're gonna get right into it today, because as you guys have heard, I am now pre-recording my intro to stop, from having to say it each time. I'm just lazy, if we're perfectly honest. Anyway, today, oops, I forgot, I have to actually play Grim Eclipse. We're gonna be talking about where Raven gets her name from. Now this seems like pretty basic, but it's actually kind of interesting, and so I wanted to cover it. I don't know how long this video is gonna be because it's very quick and very simple. But basically, this is from a Tumblr fan theory. I actually don't know because I didn't link the post. I probably won't be able to find it anymore. So like, yikes! Like life is sad, you guys. So anyway, let's play as Blake today. So this is all about Raven and how Raven got her name. In German, a bad, uncaring mother is called a RWBY mother. That's the best German accent I can muster, you guys, which translates to Raven mother. It's because people used to think that ravens abandon their offspring, turn them adrift at a very young age. Actually, young ravens leave the nest themselves, and the parents will still care for them, feed them, and protect them. It just seems like they actually abandon them. And so this person says that that is proof that that is where Raven got her inspiration from, that either before or after they made Crow, they wanted Raven to be symbolic of her leaving her family, and that is how Monty named her. That is basically what this theory is saying. There's not a lot to talk about there, but I actually think that's pretty interesting, and I think it could hold some merit. We know that a lot of people, there's some debate, a little bit of debate about this, but it's not that hard to understand that the crows and the nature of the crows and ravens we've seen are also very symbolic. Like, for example, in Volume 3, the crows formed Monty's signature, and that was something very symbolic for the show and not necessarily, I wouldn't say not something important, but it wasn't something that was very canon. It was something that they put in as to show respect and as a sign of symbolism and stuff like that. So when we're looking at Raven, I think that it wouldn't be too hard to imagine that maybe, like, to match Crow, since we know that Crow was kind of his self-insert OC, that maybe that he decided to name Raven for a kind of ironic purpose, and also, again, to symbolize the fact that she left Yang by herself, maybe give some hints to her character, because like the OP said, that's just what people think that the ravens do, but they still care and feed for their young after they leave the nest, and so maybe that is also something hidden there, that yes, it looks like Raven abandoned Yang, but maybe there is something deeper there in their story, and time can only tell, but I think that's very interesting if they really thought about that far ahead into the future. And something else I was thinking is that maybe Raven got her name because she abandoned Yang. Like, I don't know how exactly they would do that, like the tribe, because obviously Tai Yang still does Tai Yang call her Raven, or does he say your mother?
I think he says your mother.
Yeah, because he doesn't call her that. Crow calls her that, and Crow is within the tribe, and obviously I don't even think Yang said, like, I think they just refer to her as their mother, and so maybe it could also be a name that was given to her by the tribe because she chose to leave Yang alone, and maybe the tribe doesn't know. Maybe because we've talked about Raven relating to Aboriginal culture before, and there is a very strong naming culture, and how Aboriginal people will get their names and stuff like that. And so I wonder if that's kind of reflecting back on the real world, that maybe her name was something different before, and then they changed it to reflect the person that she changed into, or that she had become, or something like that. And, you know, it's German, which is great. I mean, we have we have a lot of German characters, I think. Like Weiss is based off a German story as well. And I'm pretty sure that like Raven, we haven't, we'll probably do another video on this, but Raven, like the Odin's birds or whatever they are, that's like Norse mythology, and I don't know where that falls on like the European country, like where, but a lot of characters have different inspirations, so even though they, yeah, because Norse isn't German, is it?
That's Scandinavian.
Yeah, they're close by, it's okay. But what I'm trying to say is there could be multiple inspirations there, definitely. And like, maybe she's just named Raven because she can turn into a raven, but like, this is a lot more unique and has a lot more power behind it, especially if, not that the tribe would be making fun of her because she leads, but kind of like, that name gives her strength because, it's, you know, they have this, attitude towards weakness and weak people, and so maybe like Raven is the raven mother who will leave their young behind to survive, sort of thing. And maybe that's not just referring to Yang, but everyone in the tribe, that everyone in the tribe needs to be strong because Raven is like that that German thing that I couldn't pronounce earlier, that she is the one who will not save you, sort of. And I think that's very interesting. So Hunter, what do you think of all this?
It's entirely possible that they just named
Her Raven to turn into a bird? Yeah.
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 That her last name Brandwin doesn't sound particularly German.
It doesn't.
I mean, if that's the case, then, you know, sure. It's really cool, really nice, but I think that may be coincidental. Part of me feels like we give people too much credit on that show.
I mean, I guess, but like, it was Monty that probably made them, right?
Yeah.
And he was kind of, I feel like he would put in stuff like that, you know what I mean? And even though they're in like the Norse mythology sort of area, we have other characters that have sort of crossed over to an extent, like with their names and stuff like that. They don't necessarily sound like wherever they come from. And so it may have been, like, maybe he looked it up and he just, like, thought, oh, you know, like, this thing looks cool, why don't I add that? You know, like, and I don't know, coincidences happen, but the way Raven's attitude is, like, it's a bit too coincidental, you know? Like, they just happen to make a character named Raven who abandoned her child, like, and there happens to be a German term for a mother who abandons her child that is also named Raven. You know what I mean? Like, it could, like, it seems a bit too coincidental, you know what I mean? Unless, like, the name Raven just has a bad rep, you know what I mean? Like, because some names, you hear them and you're like, I know, like, for a while, like, Britney, or, like, popular girl names kind of got this bad stigma, and so maybe, like, you know, is it the did it happen before or did it happen after? And so maybe here, it's just that Raven in so many different cultures already has a negative connotation that they stuck the uncaring mother thing with it, and so that's why they named her that. You know, it's kind of like what happened first, and so it's hard to tell, but I think this does have a little bit of merit for sure. But yeah, maybe they just saw Raven as like this kind of like evil name, and it also had that evil, I wouldn't say evil, but like that uncaring thing behind it as well, just because ravens are supposed to be unlucky. Ravens have gotten a really bad reputation. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this video. Like, I don't think that we really have to talk about anything else, because we kind of covered it. Like, there's not that much more to say. Like, it's something that's definitely possible, but unless somebody asked the people at, like, Rooster Teeth if this was their intention to kind of, that they named Raven after, or, like, was like, oh, that German thing, that's cool, man. Because, remember, they were looking at German stuff for other characters like Weiss. And so it's not too impossible that maybe they stumbled upon something in their search for character names. But yeah, I don't know, like, it's just, it's one of those things where it would make her origins cooler, because right now Crow and Raven are named because they can turn into Crow and Ravens. And not that that's not interesting, but it's not as interesting as them being like, yeah, Raven abandoned her child, and so that's her new name. Like, we're shaming her, but we're not because we're afraid. Like, I think this would be much cooler. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna do my pre-recorded outro now, and I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you all later. Bye! Hello, everybody. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Let me say thank you again to my patrons over on Patreon. Silver-Eyed Warrior, Ash Carlton, Headmaster Frankie, Huntsman Sunny, Huntsman in Training Swift, Huntsman in Training Emmycat, Huntsman in Training Justin, New Recruits, Solly, Jess, Wade, Totally, Rooter, Rage Factor 13, Flashy, Peter, Panic, Mindpiece, and $100 patron Alex Wise. So yeah, guys, bye-bye.